20 Panda functions to solve 80% of your problems in data science. Yes, guys, these 20 Panda functions I'm gonna bring you, they solve like 80% of our problems and tasks as a data scientist. We're gonna go from very simple functions to the more advanced level of functions and methods, and we're gonna build up step by step this knowledge. So stick with me to the end of this video. This is part one. Let's just jump right into the code in Jupyter Notebook. So right here we have to import the libraries, and of course I'm going to start importing the Pandas library. Import Pandas SPD, and also I'm going to import the NumPy library. Import NumPy as NP. So if you notice, Pandas is imported as PD, so I'm gonna use PD in order to call the functions. And the first function is actually to load our data, to read and load our data. So I'm gonna use the read CSV, probably the most common function to load data. And I'm gonna pass in here the name of the our data set. So let's just take a look. Yeah, seems about right. Now we're just visualizing it. So I'm gonna pass it to a variable in order to build a data frame. So this data frame is gonna be called df, and I'm gonna use .head in order to see the first 5 rows. Here we go. So here we have the column year of birth, gender, ethnicity, child's first name, count, and rank. Right, guys, so the second function is describe. This function is very useful to describe the statistic of your data, right? All the statistics are summarized right here. You can see the name of the columns, right? The respective columns, and the statistical measurement, the statistical parameter. So we have count, mean, standard deviation, so on and so forth. But if you notice, we have only 3 columns right here. Meanwhile, we know that our data set has like what? 6 columns. So what is happening here is that the columns that have categorical variables, they are not here. How can I include them? Very simple. In the describe, there is a parameter that is include, and I'm gonna pass all, right? So I want to see all the columns. There we go. Now we have some new features, some new statistical feature, unique, top, some new things, and all the columns are here. But if you notice, there are a lot of nuns that were not shown in here previously, right? These nuns happen to be here because we are asking for a statistic requiring the data to be numerical, but it is in this case categorical, so it cannot be expressed by mean, standard deviation, so on and so forth, but only count, unique, top, the most frequent ones. So if you want to see exactly only the categorical data, you can use exclude, the exclude parameter here, and pass on numbers. So it's gonna exclude all the numerical columns. So here we have gender, ethnicity, child's first name, and summarize its quote-unquote statistics of categorical variables. So you can see the count, the unique quantity of each gender, each ethnicity, and the names of child's first name. The top meaning the most common category, in this case female, so there are more women than men. Ethnicity is Hispanic, so there were born more babies in Hispanic ethnicity. and the child's first name. The most common name is Avery, which is weird, but yeah. And we got also the frequencies to each category that's more common, right? So it's very useful and very simple to use. The third one is info. You can display right here the dot info, right? So it shows the range index, showing you all the samples or rows you have in your data set, the name of the column, and it's showing you the quantity, the count of non-null samples or rows, meaning these are the valid data, rows or samples, right? Non-null. And also the data type respective to this column, as you can see right here. Year of the birth has to be an integer. Okay, great, so it makes sense. And also at the end you can see how many data types you have for each type of data type, and also the memory usage for this whole data frame we have loaded. Great. Moving on, we can use this function to see the quantities, the counting for each category for categorical variables, so columns. And so you can have df, which is our data frame, gender. Let's just see the counts for each data frame, for each gender, sorry. Well, it took a while. So it's not big difference, right? It's not big a difference. And also you can use this. I believe it would make more sense to use ethnicity instead of gender. Gender can be only 2, but ethnicity we can have way much more rich data set with, in terms of categories. So yeah, here we have all. Hispanic is the most common, which we already seen. White, non-Hispanic, and so on and so forth. The least is black, non-Hispanic, I believe. Yeah, so these are the numbers. But it might happen that actually you have a data set with so many categories for one column that you may be needing to use unique function. So right here with this function you can display the how many categories you have, right? So it's gonna output a number. And also if you want to have more clarity over this type of display, right? In case it's not very clear, the quantities, you can also always plot this. I'm gonna use the kind of plot equals bar, so you just have to type dot plot, and between parentheses you can pass to the parameter kind the type of graph you want to plot. So here we go, there it is. It could be also a pie plot, so I'm gonna type pie. I'm gonna pass pie to the kind of plot. Let's just see. So it's not very good because it's kind of messy, right? But yeah, here we have a better visualization and more sort of clarity over the counts of each category in ethnicity. So in the next video we're gonna see ilog, log, assign, query, so on and so forth. So yeah. So again, thank you very much for staying to the end of this video. I hope it has been helpful to you. Please like, subscribe, and watch the next video. We're gonna go through all the functions to the more advanced functions so you can solve 80% of your problems as a data scientist. Thank you very much for your time. See ya.